Paul Godette is an experienced surfer and skateboarder coming from the Rockaway, New York area.
What's up, y'all? Just thought I would get on here and show some appreciation, how far I've come as a surfer and as a person that does ding repair. For those that don't know, my journey in surfing started in Rockaway. It's my hometown where I was born and raised.
With his background in architecture, he loves to create, design, carve, and build. And speaking of building, he has built a great community of people who has helped him along the way with his board repair shop and continues to provide a great service to individuals who need their boards back in good shape.
Put your mask on because we're sanding. Surface prep is a crucial part of the repair process, and sanding is how we get it done. I don't talk about sanding enough in my videos. Ironically, it's the most important part of the process, and you can't learn how to sand from watching.
He has also been heavily involved in many surfing, skateboarding, and art events that take place at Rockaway Beach, which includes people collaborating, networking, and learning new things from each other.
Hey, what's up, y'all? What am I doing today? Going to the Red Bull Foam Records event, big surf comp energy in Rockaway. We outside, how about that? Fam, this is Brian. How y'all doing? Guys, what's going on?
So, as I always say, I don't want to spoil too much, so stay tuned for my amazing full conversation with Paul, where we dive deeper into learning more about his journey and career. And to all my surfers, hang 10. Hey there, Arma here. Welcome to a brand new Armavation conversation. And today I got something super duper special for you today. We not only have an experienced skater, but as well, he is a talented individual who rides on the seas because he's also a surfer, and he also works with repairing surfboards. And he's going to talk more about that. So let me welcome you, the one and only Paul Godette. Yes, let's go.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on. Appreciate it.
No problem, no
And
problem.
how do I say your name again? I just want to say it properly.
It's just Arma. It's just Arma.
Arma.
Yes.
Got you.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on, Arma.
No problem. So before we get started, I always like to ask my guests, from human to human being, like how has life been for you in general? Any highlights you want to share?
Wow. Yes. Life has been good. Life has been good. I've been the past few years have been there's been some challenges. Obviously, everyone have challenges, but I really feel like life has been good to me. I've been very grateful. You know, we all move at life at our own speed, so you can't. I feel like people shouldn't be too hard on themselves. You know, personally, I've my business has grown exponentially the past year, and I'm doing surfboard repairs, and it's honestly opened so many doors for me, and that's the good part of it. You know, obviously, for that to even happen required, some great sacrifices. But
Mm.
it's been good. Right now. I'm actually on vacation, so I'm in Barbados, so I'm enjoying some island time right now.
Oh, nice! Shout out to Barbados. Yeah, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So you doing some surfing out there as well? I assume.
Yes. I'm doing some surfing for sure.
Okay, awesome. Okay, well, speaking about surfing, I do want to get more to start off with your skateboarding and surfer background. So can you take us back to the time, like your beginning stages of how you got into skateboarding and surfboarding? And, when did you start, creating skating and surfing content online? Just tell us how it began, like kind of what age you were when you learned and all that.
Sure. So I started skateboarding when I was 13 years old. I was born and raised in Far Rockaway, New York, part of New York City, but it is a beach town. And I started skateboarding because my brother skated first. He started skateboarding because he wanted to skate with his friends. He was in high school at the time, so I went and asked my mom to buy me a skateboard also, to so that I could go and hang out with him and have fun outside with my brother. So that's when I started skating. You know, we had Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games, and so we were inspired to learn to do tricks and things like that, learn ollies, kick flips. So we began skating in the street. And as you know, New York City has a big skating culture. So we were first connected with skaters from our local town, in our local, and around the few blocks
Right.
where we live. Then we would expand outward to the local skate park in Rockaway Beach, and then further even expanded out and started taking the train to the city to skate. And that's where we, learned a lot more about the skating culture and things like that.
Okay.
Now,
Wow.
surfing came a lot later in life. I first tried surfing when I was around 17 with my friend Tommy Castro. He's also a local skater in Rockaway and surfer. And it didn't catch on really because surfing is a lot harder to get into, because if you don't have the money to buy the equipment, it's a very expensive sport to participate in because you have to rent gear every time. And I didn't have money to rent gear every time. And then a new surfboard, and in New York you need a wetsuit because the water is cold.
Mm.
You'll end up paying up to $1,000 for a new setup for everything, for the board and for the suit, and then that'll have you set. So
Wow.
it's more it's a higher price barrier. It's like you know it's more expensive sport to initially to get into because of that. Skateboarding, as you know, all you need is a pair of shoes, and which most people already have, and a skate, and then a complete skateboard, which you can get for less than $150. So skateboarding is definitely more accessible in that way. I got into surfing later in life because of that reason. So around when I was 19 or 20, I got an opportunity because I live in the surf town Rockaway. I'm always seeing surfers. So I saw a guy. Me and my friend Tommy were hanging out again. We saw a guy with surfboards on top of his car,
Mm.
and Um, Tommy was a model at the time, so the guy was taking photos of him. And I just started questioning the guy about his surfboards, and he was like, "Yo," he saw I was interested, and he was like, "Yo, actually, I have an extra surfboard that I can give you for free. All I'm gonna have you do, just go and buy the wetsuit, you know, and
Wow.
then meet up with me." He was like, "Meet up with me one day, and then I'll give you a surfboard for free." So the wetsuit you can get for 150 to $180. That's how much I got mine for. And then I met up with him, and he gave me the board for free, and that enabled me to actually go out there and start learning.
Okay.
So
Mm.
so yeah, that's how I started surfing. Then I started meeting people in the surf community and learning about the culture, learning how to actually do it, and things like that.
Wow, that's interesting that you mentioned about how surfing can be very expensive. I wouldn't have thought of surfing being like pricey, I guess, because, I will always think like, oh, it's just the board, but that's me
Yeah.
not having much education on that. So, what did you mean exactly by ranking surfboards, or what was that you said? Like, what exactly is ranking?
No, you don't necessarily need to do that, but you need at least one surfboard to go out there and learn. You
Mm.
you need a board, and then you need a wetsuit.
Okay, okay,
So
okay.
it's two different things that you need. But once you have them, you're good.
So you mentioned Rockaway Beach, a popular area just for the surfing community, right? So is this the primarily the place that you usually surf, or are there any other locations that you like to surf at?
Yes, I mainly surf in Rockaway Beach,
Okay.
and but I do surf trips also. So I've learned that when you the surf conditions are very variable. So sometimes the surf is good in the next beach town over, Long Beach. Sometimes it's better in New Jersey. So sometimes I do take drives out to different surf towns to go and surf. And then, as I told you, now I'm in Barbados. So yeah, I take trips overseas and to different places to go surf also. The surf is way better in the Caribbean.
Okay, nice. And how would you exactly describe your surfing community out in Rockaway? Is it more chill or very competitive?
The surf community in Rockaway is amazing, actually. It's probably in my opinion, one of the best surf communities in the world,
Mm.
right? And I wouldn't have known that until I left to experience other surf communities. Now, I'd say Rockaway is extremely beginner friendly. right? There's plenty of people there to teach you how to surf. There's plenty of people that are welcoming to beginners. It's very diverse. Rockaway has every type of surf group you can think of. So there is the surf club called Benny's Club. So it's welcoming to queer surfers. And there's a surf group called La Rubea Surfing. And La Rubea is a surf group that teaches underprivileged, underrepresented peoples in our community how to surf. So black and brown youth get free surf lessons at La Rubea. It's a nonprofit.
Hmm.
So things like that don't really exist in the broader surf culture globally,
Okay.
I would say, or actually, in the United States, I would say.
And
So it's more because of its location in New York City. Also, it's also the most diverse place. So you will see black people surfing in Rockaway. You will see Spanish. You will see Asian people surfing in Rockaway. You'll see every type of person surfing in Rockaway. Whereas where in other places in the United States, um because of coastal development being more high income communities,
okay.
it's mostly only white people surfing in other places.
Interesting. Okay. And I forgot to ask about as far as skateboarding. Like, how is the skating community, or what parks do you like to go for skateboarding?
Skateboarder community is fantastic. I would say the New York City skate community is it's world renowned. Like people fly into New York City from all over the world to skate because it's a dense city. There's a lot of construction. There's a lot of paved surfaces, which is what you need for really good skateboarding to go down. There's a lot of street spots. It's really a legendary city for skate history. And locally in Rockaway, our skate community is amazing. It's by the beach. We have three skate parks now. There's a bunch of skate spots along the peninsula, and it's a small town. It's a small town, so it's a small town vibe. A lot of the skaters know each other. It's really supportive. We throw skate competitions every year. It's really a good vibe, and it's by the beach, so it's just a good vibe, a good mix of people.
Okay, and for someone who's like new to Rockaway, whether it's surfing or skating, what are some things a typical person would see on a daily there, and like what things should you do and should not do when you're at the beach or at the skate park where your community is?
Well, for one, just be respectful to people that are there. That's a real easy one. Don't litter. Don't throw trash about. Um, I would just say, yeah, just showing respect and you know not not causing trouble. I don't guess. I'm
Okay.
not sure. I'm not one to just tell people what to do, but
Hmm.
I mean, I guess you're saying like what's a good way to approach the community, like if you're a first timer coming to visit, right?
Correct.
Yeah, yeah. Just show respect. Say hi. You know, because I guess as much as you would like to know us, the skaters, the surfers, the people of the community, we would like to get to know you too. Like it's really like about meeting on a really human level and just being down to earth.
Okay.
And we'll
Awesome.
and then yeah, we'll figure anything else out after that.
Okay. Let me ask you to add to that. Do you feel like there's any hidden truths or misconceptions about the skateboarding or surfing community?
I think there used to be maybe in the early times of the sport, like in the 90s and 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, when skating and surfing was seen as like counterculture. It was seen as like it was either seen as a white person's sport or it was seen as something like that that was like drug addicts would do. Like, oh, if you skateboard, you probably smoke weed and you don't, you're a delinquent also, But those stereotypes are out the window, I would say, almost entirely, considering skateboarding is in the Olympics now and there's plenty of opportunities now in the sport. So yeah, those viewpoints I think are completely nullified.
And I want to kind of transition more back into you specifically. What do you feel like was what has been your biggest accomplishment as a skater or surfer? And then what do you feel like was your most challenging moment?
Well, for me, I feel like those are for me. Skating and surfing is two completely different worlds. Even though, yes, in I do both. I do both of them. I still skate. I still surf. But the reason I say that is because I'm active in both communities, especially locally in Rockaway. So I would say a big accomplishment for skateboarding would be my brother and I. We run a local skateboard brand called Clip Mode, and we throw skate competitions every year for the community. It's a free, all ages event, and it's still ongoing, and it's a really amazing time. So that's a really big event. We have sponsors. There's prize money. There's trophies. There's food. There's games. There's a fingerboarding competition. It's a really great family-friendly event at the beach, and I would say, yeah, that's our biggest accomplishment for the Rockaway community in terms of skateboarding. And in terms of surfing, I would say my biggest accomplishment within this past year has been opening my own surfboard repair shop, and it's been going pretty well since then.
Okay, and I don't know if you mentioned, but what we feel was like your most challenging moment for both.
I don't know about that because skating has always been a part of my life. It's something that's always there. I don't see it as a challenge. I see it as something that I'm living through. It's almost like I don't know. It's always gonna be there. Obviously, yes, there were challenges in building the brand of clip mode. There's challenges every day. If I go and skate, there's a challenge to land a trick. But overall, I don't see it as challenging. I see it as a part of my life. In terms of surfing and starting the repair business, there it was definitely challenging because I used to work at a surf shop doing repairs. I was in the back, and I had a good deal with the owner, so I wasn't paying rent. I was just doing repairs for the shop and then also doing repairs on the side for customers. And when that shop closed down, I no longer had a place to work comfortably, and I had to find a new location to work essentially, and essentially start from scratch almost. I did have support, so I didn't do it alone, but I will say, I did have to take the risk in terms of starting a business.
Okay, yeah,
And that had its own challenges on its own.
yeah, that's definitely the biggest challenge. Is like when you fall down or slip a little bit as far as life, you got to find a way to keep going and just have a positive
Yeah.
attitude. Which
Yeah, it's the mindset really.
right. So speaking of like challenges and stuff, I want to ask you: do you have any favorite moves that you like to perform with skating or surfing? Like, or what moves do you wish you could do or want to get better at?
Yeah. Skating, I like doing half cab heel flips. That's like my favorite flat ground trick. I don't know why. That's just my favorite trick. I could do it really clean, and it's a good move to do in a game of skate.
Hmm.
Um, in surfing, I don't really have a favorite move per se. I'm a better skateboarder than I am surfer.
Okay.
But I don't know. Surfing is more fluid. Like I don't have a move. It's like I'm surfing the wave.
Gotcha. Okay. Understandable. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess that answers my question. Whether skateboarding or surfing's challenging. Would you say that surfing could be a little bit more challenging? Correct.
So I think yes. I think surfing is way more challenging to learn. Obviously, skating at high levels is also very challenging. I'd say they're almost depends on what like as an introductory like to if you want to learn to ride a skateboard, it's a lot easier to ride a skateboard. If you want to learn to ride a surfboard, it actually is a lot harder to ride a surfboard for
Right.
sure because you have to know how to swim first of all. So a lot of people already don't know how to swim. And then once you know how to swim, you have to learn how to read the ocean before you can even catch a wave. Never mind the physical part of it. You have to know about the waves themselves and what are you surfing on? Or is there sand on the bottom? Are there rocks on the bottom? So there's a lot of information you need before you even go out and surf. So I would say that's why it's more challenging.
I want to dive a little bit deeper into that. So specifically, how do you choose which, like, I guess, body of water to surf in? Like, how do you do it? Like from step one to when you finish catching a wave and you're back down to the surface. Or
You need to surf the wave from before it breaks until it reaches the shore if you want the longest ride. Right?
mm,
So in Rockaway, we have rock jetties that stick out from the shoreline. The rock jetties allow sand to build up, because they're built to prevent erosion. And all that built up sand allows the wave to break early, way out to sea. And then you're supposed to paddle out. You have to go into the water, paddle out, dodge the breaking waves, dive under the breaking waves, get to that point far out in the sea where the wave is breaking. You have to paddle into the wave, meet the speed of the wave, catch it, and ride parallel to the shore as long as you can until the wave's energy is finished breaking on the shore. So that's kind of the process.
okay, and just for surfing for dummies out there, can you explain the term breaking the wave? Wait, what is exactly does that mean?
It's a whole. See, that's why surfing is hard. There's so much information you got to cover before you even go out there. So storms make the waves because the waves are caused by wind going over the ocean. Once you learn what a wave is, when the waves do come towards the beach, they start getting taller. And the reason the waves start getting taller is because the waves are coming from deep ocean water. So
Mm.
if the wave is running through deep ocean water and it's reaching your shore, your beach, it that energy has to go somewhere. So it goes up. And when it can't go up anymore, and as it comes closer to shore, it starts cresting and breaking. So that means
Oh,
it's pretty much folding over on itself because it's bouncing off the ocean floor, which is really shallow now, and coming up into the air. Yeah, you're trying to ride that energy of the breaking wave. It's pretty ridiculous, and I feel so blessed to be able to do it and share it with my family and stuff like that.
okay, yeah, it sounds like a lot of Discovery Channel stuff there. But yeah,
Yeah,
you mentioned balancing before. So how would you describe balancing on a skateboard from balancing on a surfboard? Is a surfboard, like, do you feel like it's more rocky, or is it skateboarding balancing on a skateboard more rocky? What's your opinion?
balancing on a skateboard is a whole lot easier because you're on solid ground.
Mhm.
Now, the balancing on a surfboard is a lot more difficult because the water is a moving surface. So it's really hard to balance on a surfboard unless you're already have caught the wave.
Like, how do you guys not get scared, like, just falling into the water and the waves, like, behind you and stuff? I don't know how you guys do it, but.
So that's the thing is like you need to get comfortable in the water first.
Mm,
Once you because if you're panicking out there, you're not gonna have a good time. If you know how to swim and you know how to tread water and get back on your board after you fall, it's actually a lot more forgiving than skateboarding because when you fall on water, you just break the surface. There's no impact.
gotcha.
You
Okay.
you feel me? Like if you're falling on concrete, you're scraping up elbows,
Mm,
you're twisting your wrists and ankles because the concrete is pushing back at you. Gravity is not friendly. However, in the water, it's really forgiving. You're surfing, you're falling in the water, even if you fell off a really tall wave, you're falling in water. So
right.
you're essentially safe. Obviously, yeah, surfing is dangerous. Things can happen. But I would say on an entry level, surfing is safer.
So, moving on here, it's sometimes more exciting and inspiring to watch other people perform. So, do you prefer, like, where you are now? Do you like to watch other people perform on with skateboarding or surfing, or do you like? Are you more inspired by? Or does it feel more exciting to you when you're actually doing it yourself compared to just watching others perform?
Right now, I like watching skateboarding more.
Okay.
Um, I mean, it depends. I don't skate as much as I used to, so I like watching skateboarding a lot nowadays. The progression and level of tricks that people are doing is really incredible.
Hmm.
But I do still skate and do tricks and go to the park and do things. But yeah, I enjoy watching skating a lot now. And as for surfing, I enjoy doing the act of surfing more than skateboarding.
Speaking on, watching athletes perform. What other skateboarders or surfers are you inspired by? Or are there any styles that you like to implement into your own routine?
Yeah, I'm inspired by skaters that are really fluid, like it's not all about tricks. I think it's about how you move with the board. It's about style,
Mm.
So some iconic example of stylish skaters are like Louis Lopez or Austin Gillette. Um, what's her name? Uh, Lizzie Armano. I think that's her name. There's Nora Vasconcelos. She's really really stylish with it. It's not just like about and they all do gnarly tricks, right?
Mhm.
But they could do an ollie on transition, and it's like the smoothest thing in the world.
Mm.
So really, I think it's about, and it's like that for me with surfing too. It's like there's guys that can do 360 airs, but the way they move their body is like it seems a little erratic. It doesn't seem flowy and controlled. So I really enjoy watching people who have control over their bodies and the boards and just move in a fluid motion
Mm.
for both
Okay.
sports.
Awesome. And going off a little off topic here, Paul, I just had to ask this. I was like, what are your thoughts on tech decks or fingerboarding? Like, do you own any fingerboards or tech decks?
Yes, I'm big time. I love fingerboards. I have a fingerboard attached to my bag right now. I was playing with tech decks before I actually skateboarded. So we had
Wow.
tech decks and we had Tony Hawk as kids. So that was like what we knew about skate culture. Was from Tony Hawk and from playing with tech decks. So I've actually been playing with fingerboards longer than I've been actually skateboarding, which at this point is like over 15, 16 years.
Oh wow, yeah, cause yeah, I actually am touching one right now as we're speaking, but yeah, so I was like I had to ask him. So
Yeah, I've been super interested because there's been fingerboarding competitions that have been popping up, and I hadn't been knowledgeable about that community until the past 2 years. But yeah, there's fingerboarding. There's a lot. It's a big fingerboarding community, and it's been dope meeting the folks in that community. I know a lot of people that are super diehard about fingerboarding now.
could you see fingerboarding becoming something big to the point where it might, make certain competitions or the Olympics one day?
Nah, I don't see it making the Olympics, to be honest. I see it more as a hobbyist sport.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, I
As
want
hey, I guess it's possible.
it. Yeah, you never know. You never know.
Never know.
Okay, so I want to quickly ask a question more geared towards mental health. I want to ask you, how do you think skateboarding and surfing helps your mental health, or if you've seen how it has an effect on others? What can you explain more of, like, what are some of the emotions and the mentality you have while you're skating or surfing?
Yeah, sure. So I would say both of these are really similar. So I'll put them in the same kind of answer. I think skating and surfing for me and many other people, it's it gives us a way of dealing with reality. Now, a lot of the world we live in it's not an easy place to live.
Mm-hmm.
It should be. It should be because the way the natural world is, we have everything we need to essentially build our own paradise.
Mm.
However, because of empires and capitalistic empire. I mean, just over time, things have gotten hard because of resources become scarce, or they make a
Mm-hmm.
scarcity of resources so that we have to fight for the lowest wages. Like life is not easy,
Right.
and to many people, there's no way out of this
Mm-hmm.
because they don't have the education to to build something sustainable for them or their families. There's a lot of roadblocks. A lot of people want there to be a lower class so
Mm.
that they'll always be working and striving, like minimum wage, like concepts like that, where it's like you're essentially working till you die, like you're chasing survival all the time, you're chasing paycheck to paycheck, like that way of life. A lot of people are in that, and then if you have skating, if you have surfing, you have something that really can't be taken from you.
Mm,
And then you essentially have freedom in that. You have an escape from this dark reality that we actually live in. And
right.
it's so pure because it's just the joy of writing. You take your joy back from people that don't care about your joy, essentially.
Right, and that's great that you said that too, because especially like we talked about, like independent artists, just trying to, the term struggling artists and stuff like that. Like people are trying to find an escape in positive ways when they can, and it's always the idea, like, fighting poverty, just trying to get out of that rat race and
Yeah,
do something you're passionate about, but also making a living from it. It doesn't have to be where you're trying to make hundreds of thousands or millions, but at least enough to like have a decent income. So yeah,
yeah,
I want to quickly go into more about your social media platform and what you actually do with repairing boards, right? So can you kind of
sure.
can you kind of break down, like, when did you start more of what when did you start repairing, painting, fixing surfboards? I know you hinted at even snowboards. What made you start doing this? Was it as simple as seeing an opportunity to help fix an issue within your community and help others?
So I started fixing surfboards shortly after I started surfing. It was probably only like 2 or 3 years in, and the reason was because I never had money to pay someone to fix my board. So I knew a surfer and a guy named Nigel Lewis, and he owns Station Surf Shop, and I would go and bug him to show me how to fix my board because I couldn't keep paying for repairs, essentially. So, and this is the way I feel like many people live, where if you don't have money to buy a new thing, you have to learn how to fix it if you want to keep using that thing. So that was me and my surfboard. So that's where I learned the basics, and eventually I lost my job, and then I started working at that same surf shop, um, with the same guy Nigel, and then that's where I was learning more skills. I ended up working with another mentor, and it was kind of just a process thing. Fixing surfboards for the shop, fixing surfboards for friends, eventually becoming good enough to fix boards for customers of the surf shop. So it
Hmm.
was just a slowly expanded. It expanded very organically, and then once the shop closed, everybody that was already coming to the shop for repairs, I already had all their contact information, so it was easy to transfer them over to the new space where I'm at now.
But speaking of like what you do in the repair shops, can you kind of educate us on like some common issues you run into while fixing boards, or like what some of the vocabulary
Sure.
terms?
Sure thing. So surfboards are made of foam and fiberglass. Fiberglass is the outer shell essentially, and inside is just foam. And when surfboards are made to be light and flexible and move around really easily in the water, and they have to float, so they can't be too heavy. That's why there's foam inside. Now, when the surfboard, if you bash it against a wall or drop it on the floor really hard, the outside shell, the fiberglass can essentially break. It's strong, but if you drop it hard enough, yeah, it can break. And if you have a broken surfboard and you go surfing in the water with it, the foam inside can soak up water and it eventually becomes too heavy to surf properly. So commonly, someone will hit their surfboard on something. We call it a ding, and I'm doing ding repair. So I just repair anything from a small crack in the surfboard that's letting in water up until boards that are fully broken in half.
What's the process for fixing the boards that are actually like broken in half or like really damaged? Like what are some of the things the tools you're using and stuff to fix it?
The process is pretty intense. It's a multi-step process. It's like, and every damage is different. It could be up to 10 steps.
Mm.
There's a lot of sanding involved. So I'm using sander machines. I'm using angle grinders, all the way up till the finish where there could even be polishing. And I'm working with fiberglass. So there's a laminating step too, where we have to put layers of fiberglass to essentially recreate that outer shell.
Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot just in what you just said because I didn't even know what a surfboard was made out of, to be honest. But
Yeah, they can be made out of many different materials
okay,
actually.
okay, okay,
Because originally surfboards were made out of wood, the original surfboards, so
right.
the fact that they're foam now is actually an advanced technology, foam and glass.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. I was thinking like the outside coating was like a little bit of like plastic or rubber or something. I don't know why, but it
Some of
just.
them, and some of them are. That's
Oh,
the thing,
okay,
is like they
okay.
can be, yeah, essentially, as long as it floats, it can be a surfboard.
Okay, gotcha. Understandable.
I'm
Okay.
just I'm just telling you what's most commonly used, you know.
Okay, I understand. All right. And speaking of like how, with you doing repairs and stuff, I did notice that you did a post of like cuz you did show like you kind of like carve or sculpt wood. So, I was interested to see like you designed some awards for like a battle at the beach five
Yeah.
skate contest. What exactly was that, and like how what's the story behind you creating awards for that event?
So I have a background in architecture. I went to school to study architecture, and that was the job that I had lost to start working at the surf shop. I was I was doing computer design, so I have 3D design skills that I've repurposed for the purpose of the skate competition. And
Okay.
so my local skate park, I essentially took photos of it, rebuilt it on the computer, and brought it to a 3D printing lab in New York City, and had them print out replicas of the like small scale replicas of the skate park for us to give out as prizes for the competition. Yeah.
Are you able to share who won those awards you helped create?
Oh, I don't even remember because I do the trophies every year. We've been doing it for 7 years now, so it's a
Okay.
lot of winners. It's been a lot of winners.
Also, Paul, I just wanted to list out some significant events you have mentioned and tell me as much as you remember, or if you could describe it in one sentence or a few words, feel free to do that. So, first up, Mixed Media Mondays at Rockaway Beach.
Oh, so that was an art class that my friend and I did. So Order Vision Studios was founded by Alex Seal. So he's right now in Africa doing um a film project on something. He's always shooting, but he has an art studio located in Rockaway Beach, and he he and I revitalized Mixed Media Mondays because it was there already. I just helped revitalize it, and it's just a free art class. It was just like another community activity. Rockaway doesn't have much programming in terms of fun things to do besides the beach.
Mm,
So it was something that was used to activate the art space, activate folks' creativity that, might be dormant, and then creativity skills that they may not be using, and it was a very free environment. It was also Order Vision is also a nonprofit, so all the art materials were provided, and yeah, we're trying to bring that back this summer too.
okay.
And what was the next one?
Okay, and how about Stop Playing with Beach Kickback at Rockaway Beach?
Yeah, so Stop Playing with Them um, is a surf focused brand, and the Juneteenth Beach Kickback was a it was an event that it was a Juneteenth celebratory event that helped bring Black and Brown people to the water to surf. So that on that day we were giving free surf lessons all day, and it was just like a community event. We had food, we had free gear from some sponsors that helped us throw the event. It was just a beach. And in the name says beach kickback. It was a kickback day. We were chilling on the beach essentially. A
Okay.
very community event.
Okay, and last one here, Juneteenth Beach Kickback at B90 Street.
Yeah, so that's essentially the same event that
Okay.
happened the next year. So we would do it like every summer.
Okay, awesome. Okay, cool. So I want to, Paul, get to the last two questions here before I let you show off whatever you're okay with showcasing. So I want to ask you, what advice can you give to skaters or surfers or anyone who wants to get started on their dreams but they have no connections, no support, lack of finances? They're basically kind of at ground zero. What would you suggest on how they could get started on their goals?
Sure. I would suggest focusing on community first. So look around you and see the impact that you can make in other people's lives, right? Because I think that's the greatest way to do something significant. If you have a group of kids in your neighborhood that might be getting into trouble, you can start grassroots. Forget about making it something flashy. See if you can get some old skateboards together and like inspire those kids to go and do something positive. It could be that simple, as just redirecting someone. And it could go as big as like starting a nonprofit. Maybe that could be the start of it. Just an idea, but I would say just focus on community. Um, you know, and that's a good place to start.
Okay, awesome. And next, Paul, what is next for you? Basically, where do you want to take your skating, surfing, and content creation next? Like, what's your overall motivation for what you're trying to accomplish in the future?
That's a great question. Truly, honestly, I'm not too sure. Like I just take things day by day.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for all the things that I've done already. I'm not, I don't take things for granted. I don't have to be here right now. Like I'm super blessed to like have the supportive community and to be able to help people in the ways that I can already.
Awesome. And I guess that's all that matters. Sometimes going with the flow is the best thing. You don't have to have every single thing necessarily planned. So, um,
Yeah.
whatever you choose to do, I hope it continues to grow and do amazing things. So, okay.
Thank you so much.
No problem. All right, Paul, I'm going to give you the floor. So, whatever you're open to sharing for your showcase, I'll leave it up to you.
And I'll share a little story too. So um I bought an airbrush for for doing surfboard repairs. I bought an airbrush, an air compressor, and essentially the goal was to have more accurate color matching on repairs because when you repair a board, it'll leave sometimes a white spot or a yellow spot on the board. It's very noticeable. A lot of people want it color matched. So I bought all this equipment, learned how to use it, and I realized I actually really liked painting with it.
Hmm.
So I made two art pieces that actually essentially came from me buying equipment to do surfboard repairs, and then I ended up using it to make art. So one of them was for the Juneteenth beach kickback, and then that one you'll see people dancing on the beach. You'll see the background Rockaway Beach and people surfing. And I made a second piece, and I titled it Bird Sanctuary. And I made that piece for a local garden that wanted an art piece up. They were doing an artist showcase for a month, and they actually put my artwork up on the front of the garden and had it there. It was for Beach 91st Street Community Garden. And I am a beginner shaper. I shaped two surfboards so far. I'm finishing the second one, and I have a third one too. But the third one's like it's really rough. But I'm working on a second surfboard right now,
Okay.
and it's not finished. So I don't have finished photos of that one. I have
Okay.
finished photos of the first one that I could share. It's not artistic per se. It is an art piece, but it's just a whiteboard that I made.
Okay, awesome. Well, I want to say thank you so much, Paul, for doing this. I know it's not always easy for people to come on here, be vulnerable, and share their background story about what they do as well. So I appreciate you for taking the time to share your story, educate us more skateboarding and surfing, and more about your community where you are. And yeah, you're gonna be the first surfer to be a part of my channel, so I'm very grateful for that. And I wish you well on your journey and continue to inspire your community.
Sweet. Thank you so much for having me. That's such an honor to be the first surfer on the channel. Yeah, I hope more people could get into it, or I hope more people are just um intrigued by it to search something up or to go and take a lesson to don't think it's not for you. It's for everyone. We're on this planet. We all have access to water and things. So,
Right.
yeah, I hope it inspires somebody for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem. So, with that being said, thanks to everyone who's tuned into this conversation. Um, Please support, all the independent content creators and artists out there. Uh, you could help support by sharing this video and sharing your thoughts, liking, all that good stuff. And with that being said, see you guys in the next one and take care. Peace.